Have you ever felt like it's just getting harder to focus, to really, truly think something through from start to finish? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're diving into a kind of thought experiment about something we all just assume is a given, our own minds. And maybe more importantly, the subtle ways our ability to think deeply might just be fading away. So let's start with a really provocative question. Imagine for a second if you wanted to systematically weaken the ability of the next generation to think critically, to think for themselves, how would you actually do it? It's a pretty chilling thought, right? But exploring it, well, it reveals some pretty uncomfortable truths about the world we're all living in right now. But here's the twist. This isn't about some shadowy organization or a supervillain plotting in a secret lab. The real threat isn't some grand conspiracy. It's comfort. It's all the subtle, everyday habits and conveniences that we barely even notice, which are slowly, quietly, chipping away at our ability to think. Okay, so to really get how this happens, we need to completely shift how we see thinking itself. We tend to believe that thinking is just something that happens automatically, like breathing. But the reality is, it's much more like a muscle. See, thinking is a skill. And just like any skill, if you don't use it, you lose it. It's not this thing we're born with, fully formed and ready to go. Think about it. In environments where curiosity is punished and just following orders is rewarded, people don't just stop having thoughts, but their capacity for deep, independent thinking, it definitely starts to shrink. And this really hits on the core idea. Our collective ability to think isn't some guaranteed feature of being human. It needs constant exercise. And the real danger here is that this muscle can weaken silently, without us even noticing it's happening, until it's really, really weak. So what's the biggest threat to this mental muscle of ours? It's probably not what you'd guess. It's not about banning books or anything so obvious. No. It's an enemy that we actually welcome into our lives every single day. An enemy that feels like fun. It's the constant, unrelenting noise of the modern world. Just think about your own daily routine for a second. That endless scroll on your favorite app, the constant ping of notifications, the nonstop fire hose of short, bite-sized videos. We are literally training our brains to crave constant stimulation, to jump from one thing to the next, never really settling on a single thought for more than a few seconds. And here's the huge paradox, isn't it? We do everything in our power to avoid being bored. We fill every single spare moment with some kind of noise. But it turns out that boredom, that quiet, empty space for reflection, is exactly where our best ideas are born. It's the soil where deep thoughts can actually grow. No, seriously, think about it. When was the last time you just sat in silence? No phone, no music, no podcast, just you and your own thoughts. It's becoming an incredibly rare experience, and a mind that's never quiet is a mind that almost never has the chance to make new connections or have a truly original idea. Now, this constant noise creates a whole other problem, a social one. We're living in a world that pretty much demands an instant opinion on absolutely everything, whether we've had a moment to really think about it or not. I mean, just look at this breakdown. Real thinking, it's slow, it's messy, it's all about being comfortable with doubt, with not knowing. But online, it's the complete opposite. The algorithm rewards speed, absolute certainty, and hot takes. There's just no incentive to pause and say, that's a good point. Let me think about that for a while. The whole system is built for fast reactions, not slow reflection. Think about it. Being wrong online is treated like a huge failure. So instead of exploring new ideas, we just double down on our initial, unexamined opinions. It's safer. It's just easier. So if our social world is kind of failing us, what about the one place that's actually designed to teach us how to think? What about school? Well, the truth is, sometimes the very system that should be our greatest defense ends up becoming part of the problem. When the main goal is to get the best grade, to ace the standardized test, the system optimizes for memorization, not genuine understanding. And in that whole process, the most important ingredient of all, curiosity, just gets squeezed out. You can't exactly bubble in curiosity on a multiple choice test. And that's the real danger right there. When we value having the right answer more than asking the right question, we're not creating thinkers, we're creating followers. We're basically training minds to just wait for instructions instead of figuring out how to forge their own path. Okay, so this all sounds pretty grim, I know, but here's the good news. Our ability to think isn't a lost cause. It might be fragile, but you know what? It's also incredibly resilient, and every single one of us has the power to fight back. Deep thinking isn't gone for good. It's just dormant. It's waiting to be rediscovered, and it comes back to life in the small, deliberate choices we make every single day. This isn't about some massive life change. It's about small, consistent acts of mental defiance. So, what does this resistance training actually look like in real life? It's simple, but that doesn't make it easy. It's the conscious choice to pick up a book instead of your phone. It's carving out just 5 minutes of silence in your day instead of automatically hitting play on something. It's choosing to have a real, messy, long conversation with someone instead of just dropping a quick reaction online. Ultimately, protecting your mind is really about changing your mindset. It's about giving yourself permission to be curious again. Like when you were a kid. It's about being okay with saying, I don't know, and being totally willing to be wrong on the journey to figuring things out. And don't ever underestimate these small choices. That book you decide to read, that difficult conversation you choose to have, that moment of silence you guard with your life. These aren't just hobbies or content. In a world that is designed from the ground up to distract you, these are quiet, powerful acts of rebellion. So when you get right down to it, the question isn't really how does thinking disappear? The real question is, who is choosing to protect it? The very fact that you've listened this far, that you're even thinking about these things, well, that means you're already part of the resistance. The choice, as always, is yours. What are you going to do to protect your mind?